What's up, school community? About to start the Instagram live, but I just want to say hi to you guys first and say thank you so much for being a part of the Academy. If you guys have any questions about anything in the Academy, how to use a classroom, how to access these live Q&As, whatever it is, just hit me up, you guys. I'm always here for you. You can hit me up on Instagram at westpyatt2013 or on the school app in the chat function. All right. Let's get this party started. I got 7 questions I'm going to answer for you guys today, athlete focused. We've got number 1 question. If I only have 3 days a week to train, how should I break that up and what should I focus on? Number 2, how do I know if I'm scaling too much or too little? Question number 3, what supplements, if any, should I be taking? Number 4, should I work out when I'm sore or should I rest? And number 5, the biggest mistake most CrossFitters are making, in my humble opinion. Number 6, breaking through plateaus or skills you're just stuck on. Number 7, warming up as I get older. Let's talk about getting older. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling that so much. So let's dive right in. Number 1 question, if I only have 3 days a week to train, how should I break that up and what should I focus on? I'm going to say it depends. And it depends on a lot of factors. So let's just make it basic. We've got a female, we got a male, they're 30-ish, 40-year-old, somewhere in there. For the females, strength training is going to be a real important part. And supplementing that strength, and when I say strength training, I'm talking deadlifts, I'm talking back squat, front squat, bench press, strict press, push jerk, power cleans, hang power cleans, really what we call compound big movements that you can put a lot of weight on the bar. You're really going at about 80% or more of your rate of perceived exertion, which is a cool way to measure it because you don't have to necessarily be hitting a strict percentage because life kind of controls that. Instead, you get to just think about how am I feeling today? I want it to feel like 80% of my effort or more is going into this, and the weight on the bar could differ from day to day, if that makes sense. So that's what I mean when I say strength training. Now, when I say accessory work, you're going to use that to both prehab and rehab the body, but also supplement the metabolic conditioning workout that you do in between, which is just a CrossFit workout. Think 3 rounds for time, AMRAPs, EMOMs, that kind of stuff. So it looked like this: strength train on day 1, do some sort of a CrossFit workout on day 2. And then day 3, accessory work is going to be the opposite muscle groups that you worked in the metabolic conditioning workout. So let's say I did thrusters and ring rows for my workout. Well, the thruster is mainly quad dominant and shoulder dominant on the press. And then the ring row, we've got, back of the shoulders on the pull and upper body dominant pull. So what I'm going to want to do is opposite those. I'm going to want to deadlift instead of squat. I'm going to want to press in the opposite direction that I pulled, and I'm going to want to pull in the opposite direction that I pressed. And if you could use that framework to help you build accessory work week to week, it'll really help your recovery with the CrossFit workout you're doing, as well as if you're even more nerdy like me and you want to dive in even more and kind of really make this thing great, is look at the strength piece that you did. Excuse me, allergies have got me going nuts. Look at the strength piece that you did that week. Look at the metabolic conditioning piece that you did, and then fill in the gaps of the missing muscle groups and ranges of motion and planes in which you move. I think that would be the best blueprint. And then what I would do is hit that for about anywhere from 3 to 4 to 6 weeks, just kind of as a nice little progression that you could use, where I could, for example, in a 6-week progression of strength, start at 50 to 60% of a 1 rep max and build to a 1 rep max over those 6 weeks. I could work on some skill work or something like that and target some maybe weaknesses that I have in my metabolic conditioning workouts, and then 6 weeks of really good accessory work on that back end to fill in those gaps is a great blueprint in order to wash, rinse, and repeat, as they like to say. For men, the only difference that I would make here is I would focus a little bit more on zone 2 aerobic, long, kind of flushing, stretching, long-term stretching, hanging, those types of things in order to keep the range of motion, because we have a tendency to love strength work and get really strong, but we also lose range of motion when that happens. So for a male, I would make it look like, hey, do a dedicated strength day that is opposite, like we just talked about, of the accessory work and the metabolic conditioning workout you're doing. do a metabolic conditioning workout on day 2. And then day 3, do some sort of a zone 2 cardio based, body weight only, 20 plus minute long, what I like to call flush, where you're looking at the movements I've done, what body parts are really sore, and how can I use the lymphatic and blood system to help me push out all of that dead blood and lactic acid and things that are sitting in our bloodstream that are making us sore, and pump in new red blood cells and oxygen and bring the enzymes and the proteins that are necessary to help those muscles heal. And I wouldn't add in any other implements that would cause me to call this weightlifting. It's just body weight only. And then same thing, I would go through 4 to 6 week blocks of that. And then in the next 4 to 6 week block, I would just switch up the order in which I did that and the movements a little bit, maybe progress them slightly. And you got 3 years worth of programming that you could make right there out of it, doing 3 days a week, which is awesome for most parents. So I hope that answers you guys' question there. Question number 2, how do I know if I'm scaling too much or too little? Well, number 1 answer is, are you getting results? And if you're getting results, then great. Number 2 is, what is I guess, let me put it this way. Number 1, what's happening every single rep around you, every set, every round, and every workout? So let's start with every rep. There's a speed at which you should be moving to hit the energy system that we're trying to hit that day. And if you are on rep 1 and you notice that everybody around you is moving a lot faster than you are on rep 1, 2, and 3, or a lot slower than you are on rep 1, 2, or 3, you might have scaled a little too much or a little too not enough. If at the end of every set or round, for example, you're the first one done and you're far out ahead of everybody and you're looking around waiting for people to finish and nobody's finished yet, you may have scaled a little too much, right? Or vice versa, or not enough. And if you are not going fast enough, and everybody finishes and you're there, man, maybe I went a little too heavy or I did too many reps. But if you're, kind of right with the pack in the middle, maybe slightly behind, maybe slightly in front, but everybody's moving together, that's right on. Now, if you were to look at this in terms of the workout, this is what coaches at the end of the day kind of hang their hat on, is what was your score relative to everybody else's that day? And is it similar? And if it is, probably did a good job scaling and the coach probably did a good job of setting this person up for success. But if it doesn't look the same, and it's everybody else got 10 minutes and you got 15, for example, well, we didn't scale very well there. Number 1, look at results. Number 2, how you doing every rep? How you doing every round? How you doing every workout? Cool. Our question number 3, what supplements should I take, if any? Well, number 1, ideally, you're getting the correct amount of micronutrients that you need from your whole food diet that you are eating, and you don't need any supplements except for fish oil. That's the one supplement that, even if you're eating really well, if you're not eating fish that is wild caught, small, not large fish that are eating all the other fish 3 times to 5 times a week, you're probably not getting enough omega-3s to combat the omega-6s that you are getting in your daily diet from just being a human in this world that we live in this ultra processed, industrial processed food life that we live in. So I would suggest that everybody takes about 3 to 3.5 grams of EPA DHA a day. If you are allergic to shellfish, there's algae oil that you can get, and there's other vegan options and stuff out there too. And my go-to is Nordic Naturals. We actually just finally got a wholesale account with them the other day, and we're going to get to sell it at our gym. I'm so freaking excited because I've been trying to get a wholesale account with them for 10 years. And every time I went on their website, it would just say, we are not taking any more retail partners at this time. And I was like, God dang it, And then I had a little back way in. I'm sure somebody's watching this right now being like, I got in there, no problem. But anyways, that's my recommendation for that. And the other one is creatine. Unless you have some sort of a liver problem going on, or your doctor says not to, creatine is amazing. It's a highly studied supplement, and it's just shown to give you more energy to do the processes that are necessary for your body to just thrive every day. So I pushed for my grandma right before she passed away to start taking it, honestly, because I think it would help her. So creatine and fish oil, those are my 2. And I go with Nordic Naturals, and then creatine, I go with Swolverine, because I trust those mother effers a lot, and I love them. So check them out. Question number 4, should I work out when I'm sore or should I rest? What should I do? Here's the way that it works. You got full rest, you got active rest, you've got practice, you got training, and you got competing. The only time I will suggest that somebody takes full rest, I'm talking Netflix and chill on the couch, do absolutely nothing that involves any type of aerobic activity, even maybe stay around 10,000 or under steps a day, is if they're really sick. If you're really sick and it's below the neck, like your lungs, your gut, your body, you're sick, rest. Let your body recover. However, if I'm sore, if I'm feeling fine, but my body's a little sore, my joints are a little sore, I want active rest or even practice in those times are awesome. If I'm like super sore, I want active rest. I want to get into the gym. I want to get on some sort of machine. I want to pump a lot of blood through my body. I might even want to get a little sweaty just to make sure that the whole lymphatic system and circulatory system is really moving well and helping to invigorate my body with brand new cells. That's what I'm trying to do. If I'm feeling like pretty good, but I know it's time to take a rest, but I'm like a little bit sore, maybe my joints are a little bit beat up, I might do practice that day. And that means like I could keep my mouth closed the entire time that I'm doing it. I don't open my mouth because I have too much carbon dioxide in the bloodstream. And I could practice Olympic lifting. I could practice gymnastics. I could practice running. I could practice jumping rope. There's so many skills that I could spend 20, 30, 40 minutes on practicing. But the idea is that I'm taking my joints and muscles and skeletal structure through its ranges of motion as complete and full as possible to get as much blood flow to help me recover as much as possible. So to answer your question, if I'm sore, should I work out? You should active rest or practice if you're sore. If you're not sore, then you should be training, which isn't competing and isn't resting. About, anywhere from 70% to 90% of your effort, right, is going into the workouts. And we think about those as our daily Metcons that we do in our classes. And then you got competing. And competing is, the Open comes around or you do your local competition every year, like the Unity Games that we got coming up in November. I think it's November 1st this year on a Saturday. So come hang out with us. It's going to be so fun. When you do those types of things and you're competing, that's when you're kind of like saying, hey, I might lose form a little bit on this rep or that rep or cut the distance a little bit on this range of motion because I'm trying to move really fast and I'm trying to get a score to see what my body is basically just capable of. And we don't do that very often. If some people ever don't do that, and that's totally fine. You'll get great results without doing it. I would say you wouldn't get maximum results unless you test that and know where your limit is, but you'll get great results. Hope that helps. Question number 5. What's the biggest mistake that most CrossFitters make? Man, I mean, that's a big question and there could be a lot of answers that are correct. But I would say, in my opinion, it's that 2 things. Number 1, you don't focus enough on nutrition. We just don't. There's a great podcast CrossFit just put out on nutrition that you guys should all listen to. And it talked about at one moment, Denise was like, do you feel like we don't focus on nutrition as much now as we used to? Resounding yes. Back in the day, it was, what's your block? And people would be like, oh, I'm a 20 block, I'm a 14 block. And they talk about this in the podcast. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that exactly describes how much the tribe or the community has changed when it comes to what is CrossFit. CrossFit at its heart is more nutrition than it is working out. Because if we look at the theoretical hierarchy that Coach Glassman put forth in his What is Fitness article back in 2002, and he put the theoretical hierarchy of an athlete, he made this whole pyramid and it said, hey, here's what I want you guys to focus on the most, the second most, the third most, the fourth most, and then this will make your life the best. And the more you focus on this thing down here, the wider the base gets, the taller your pyramid could be. Basically, I'm saying your life is going to get better if you focus the most on, and at the base, he had nutrition. So CrossFit at its core is a nutrition implement, number 1. Like that's what it is. It is here to teach people about what nutrition does for your health. Number 2 is metabolic conditioning. Now we need to get you to do as many different things and different patterns and different time domains and different intensities as possible to flex the muscle that is metabolism, the way your body processes its energy, its food that it's getting in. And then number 3 is gymnastics. It's not even moving any weight yet, which is what most people are concerned about. They're like, I don't want to get bulky in CrossFit, or I'm going to get hurt lifting all these weights. And it's like, well, if you really thought about it, 60% of your time should be spent on going to the grocery store, meal prepping, learning how to, read nutrition labels, all that kind of stuff. About 40% of your time then should be spent on the other stuff, which is metabolic conditioning, working on your body through space, and then weightlifting and throwing right before your life. So it's like the second to last thing that is important is to lift weights. And what's more important is to learn how to put stuff in your body, food wise, how to condition that stuff you put in your body so it's actually used correctly, how to move your body through space. And then and only then do we talk about weightlifting and throwing and things like that. So I think the number one thing that most CrossFitters make a mistake on is not focusing on educating themselves or becoming educated through another coach, which please reach out to me. I will talk to you as much as you want about nutrition, on what I need to do for my body. And if you want my honest opinion, what everybody should do, not everybody, but what I think is the most bang for your buck is go get Lingo, I think it's called. It's like this little device you put on the back of your arm. It's a continuous glucose monitor that every time you eat something, it's going to track what type of an insulin spike that gave you, which is the number one correlate to seeing if you're going to live a long, healthy life from your nutrition choices. And we could sit here and do all of these, science experiments where I take food out and I bring it back in. I kind of see how it affects my results and stuff, but it takes a long time to get myself through, And instead, if I just put this thing on the back of my arm and every time I eat something, I track it in the app, man, we got a list of foods that are going to spike our insulin or not spike our insulin. And we have an understanding of exactly what we should kind of and should not eat. And I think that would be my best recommendation for people in terms of when it comes to, okay, well, great, I should focus more on nutrition. Well, what should I do? And I'm like, dude, just do that. That would be awesome. Start where you're at. Hit me up if you need help with that. Moving on. The second thing that I think CrossFitters make the biggest mistake on is doing too much volume and not enough intensity. Ideally, we want the minimum effective dose to get the ideal response. The minimum effective dose in terms of exercise means less weight, less reps, less loading, less time under tension on the body in general. So less energy wasted on dealing with this stimulus and more energy put forth towards the things that are actually going to get your results. And if we, instead of doing strength part A, Metcon part B every day in our affiliates, we have a dedicated strength day and we have dedicated Metcon days. And every once in a while, we do a strength Metcon day, prioritizing intensity over volume, which will make people's joints feel better, will make them last longer and do this thing longer, and will ultimately help with their results, because what matters is power output. And if you do the math, most of the time, the power output is pretty low when it comes to strength Metcon compared to just doing one Metcon with all of the warm-up reps, with all of the cool-down reps and everything else that you would put in there. And the skill development's off the charts because you can actually add skill stuff in, which is amazing. So the two biggest mistakes that CrossFitters make, number one, is not focusing on nutrition enough. And number two, too much volume, not enough intensity. Number 6, breaking through plateaus, or when you're stuck on a skill. What the frick, man, do you do? Well, number one, recognize that when we're at a plateau, it doesn't mean that nothing is happening. Something is always happening. Like there's the only constant in life is change. And your body is constantly changing. When you look in the mirror and you look at the results on paper and you feel like nothing is moving, there could be this amazing thing called myelin being created, which myelin's job is it wraps around the cords of your central nervous system like insulation around a pipe, so that the stuff that's going through that cord can get through there uninterrupted and faster. Imagine if you wrapped your pipes because they freeze every year. Man, that water is going to be able to get through there a lot faster without this problem that's happening over here. And a lot of times when we're in that plateau, that's what's happening internally. And you just got to keep going, man. Got to keep going, got to keep going, got to keep going. Because the thing that drives me nuts is like, why not keep going? You're exercising, eating well, sleeping good, hanging out with cool people, getting some sunshine, putting your feet in grass. All of this shit is stuff that you should just do forever. So why would you stop doing it in the first place? Keep doing it, and eventually you will break through. And all of a sudden what I see happen is it goes, no, and all the results just start happening and they feel amazing and the weight starts falling off. But they had this period of, I've seen people up to a year. of just doing the same thing every day over and over again and seeing no results, maybe even worse results from it, but trusting the process and staying with it. And eventually their body caught up with them and boom, everything happened. It was like a switch that went off and their body finally went, safe, let's do this. Don't ask me why or how, but just take your time and know that when things aren't happening, things are happening. Things are happening. When you're stuck on skills, this is a funny one for me. I learned this a long time ago that when we do something really mentally challenging during that day or physically challenging, but it really challenged our skill, our practice, our ability to put the mind and body connection together and sequence our body in motion and at certain timings in order to complete certain tasks like throwing a ball or jumping rope or doing kipping pull-ups or a muscle up or whatever it is that you're like, that damn skill. While you're doing said skill to get the result of the ultimate movement, so let's use the muscle up, for example, and you're doing all these false grip ring rows and transitions and ring dips and all this stuff. And but it's not leading to the actual muscle up. Every time you get up there, you fail. Every time you get there, you fail. Every time you get up there, you fail. Well, all of those fails, all of those repetitions, if done with intention, while you're sleeping, your body is going to be like, hey, bro, dude went kind of crazy today on that skill. This must be pretty important. Did you see how focused he was on that? I've never seen him that focused on anything in my life. That was and how much effort he was putting. And I think we did 1 billion reps. What do you guys think in the whole body? Central nervous system, autonomic nervous system, the brain, the heart, the lungs are going, yeah, that was crazy, dude. You're right. That was a big deal to this guy. And then your brain, like a computer screen, imagine staring at your computer desktop. And it's got all of these files that all day long you saved and saved and saved and saved. And at the end of the day, you're looking at all these things you saved on your computer screen and your brain goes, that one was freaking important. We need to create its own folder, actually. Let's make its own folder and let's take that and let's put it in that folder. Yeah, we need to remember that one. And then, that stupid little argument we got in with our wife, whatever, let's put that in the trash. That was dumb. Make sure you check in with her later, though. Whatever. That stupid thing that happened at work, that was dumb. Put it in the trash. That email I got was kind of important, but I don't need to get to it now. Let's leave it on the desktop, but let's not create its own folder for it. It's not that important. I'll get to it tomorrow, though, type of thing. And your brain is doing this all night long while it goes through these different sleep phases and categorizing these things that you just put so much intention into. And that's the key, is remembering that the more intention that you spend on something, the better results that you're going to get from it. Here's a key: tomorrow, not today. Because while you're sleeping, your body's going to be like, dude, super important, put it in its own box. Make that something to remember. We really want to make sure that everything we need to do, I think that there was something with the wrist, and I think there was something with the jump. And I think, if we go back to the muscle up analogy, I think there was something with this weird ass grip and I couldn't straighten my arms. I got to figure that out, The next day or the following day, when you come back and do that same skill again and watch what happens. It will be exponentially better every night after you get a good night's sleep and you had intentional focus the day before. So when I'm building out skills for my members or my individual athletes, what I'm looking at is, okay, let's put this skill in here to get, Sarah, one of my members I'm working with right now, a handstand. The next day, because she's going to sleep that night after she put all that work in, the next day, what am I doing to supplement that skill so it really just sinks into the complexes of the brain and the body and go, man, that was really important. And he's making us do something again that has to do with that. And every time that we do that, and we practice those skills while our body is sleeping is when it's actually getting better. So don't expect to get the damn thing today. Expect to just learn one little thing today that you didn't know yesterday about it, and then get some damn good sleep. And then tomorrow come back and supplement that with something that you didn't do yesterday that's going to help build upon it. That will help you get the skills. And then remember, when you start to plateau, hopefully that's that myelin being created. Number 7, and then we're out of here. We're crushing this thing. This is awesome. Warming up as I get older. Man, yes. I remember Neil Maddox told me a long time ago, he said, Wes, I'm like an old leather belt that's been left out in the sun. I can't just jump into these workouts like you guys do. I got to take that thing out of the sun, let it cool down first. I got to oil it. I got to oil it some more. I got to get rid of all the excess oil. I got to, massage it in. I got to do all these things to get this belt ready to wear. And he's like, and that's not just once. He's all, that's every time that I work out. And I was like, all right, cool, dude. And he'd be over there warming up for 30 minutes and we're, already through 2 workouts. And it was a lesson in, hey, there is what I can expect as my body starts to age. And there's a very good example of what I should do. So here's my objective list of things I think you should do as you get older to make sure that you are not only warming up, but like staying warm daily. Number 1 is hydrate, drink water, and eat Ice Age meals because they're good for you. Drink water and put a little salt in it. If you find yourself, you're like, oh, I drink so much water and I'm still dehydrated. Stop drinking so much. Drink a little less and put a little salt in there. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Put a little salt in there. It's good for you. Number 2, 10,000 steps a day at freaking minimum. I remember hearing Kelly Starrett say one time that like getting 10,000 steps a day just means you're human. It doesn't mean you're actually like an athletic person or fit. It's like, that's the minimum standard. And I see across the board, if you're 15,000 steps a day or more, which is like somebody who has a job is constantly moving and walking around all day. And then they get home and they're not just sitting on the couch, they're moving around and doing stuff. And then they're going to bed. They're moving all day long. They're getting 15 to 20 to 25,000 steps a day. The amount of lymphatic movement, the amount of blood that is being created, the amount of old dead blood cells that are getting pushed out and new ones that are being brought in compared to just like sitting at my desk all day long and not moving at all. Just get your ass up to 10,000 steps a day. Awesome, awesome, awesome objective thing that everybody with a freaking Apple Watch or a Fitbit that's like $10 on Amazon can get and will help you out a ton. So hydrate, get 10,000 steps a day. This is one you probably weren't expecting. Sit in the bottom of a squat for 2 minutes accumulated a day. Watch what happens to your low back pain, your hip pain, your knee pain, your ankle pain, shoulder pain, all those pains that you might have. Watch what happens to them. Watch them just kind of go away. Because it's more about that we're not hitting these range of motion every day. So our body goes like, man, we don't need that. Let's just like solidify this range of motion and keep them here and really strong. And all of a sudden you try to squat below parallel. You're like, oh my God, that hurts so much. And I don't know why. It's just because you don't do it enough. So 2 minutes squat a day, 1 minute hang. Grab something and hang, dead hang, like full, just relax, sloth mode, and accumulate a minute. Go to Big 5, get one of those, pull-up bars you put in your door frame. And every time you go past it, just hang and relax. If you sat at the bottom of the squat, if you hung, if you got 10,000 steps a day, and if you hydrated properly, you're setting up the body for success going into workouts, to stay fit, to stay mobile, to stay hydrated, to keep the fascia from binding up and moving. So hydrate, 10,000 steps a day, squat for 2 minutes, hang for a minute. Now, when you're actually in the gym, here's my like kind of protocol that I go by, blueprint-ish. And again, it depends on the individual, and this could be totally different depending on the person. But I'll usually start with some sort of a machine, and I'll get them on there until they start to feel like they need to open their mouth. So I'm like, keep your mouth closed, get on the machine, start going. When you feel like you're like, I want to open my mouth, I'm starting to, come on, take off this shirt. There's a little sweatshirt here. I'm getting a little hot. And then I'm like, come on off the machine. Like, we've got the internal body temperature up a little bit, got the lymphatic system working. This is great. Then I suggest, and this isn't like what everybody does, but this is just a blueprint that you can use, 5 to 10 reps of all 9 of the foundational movements. So do like 5 air squats, 5 front squats, 5 overhead squats, 5 deadlifts, 5 sumo deadlift high pulls, 5 medicine ball cleans, 5 presses, 5 push jerks, 5 presses, 5 push presses, and 5 push jerks, or 10 of each of those, and get like 90 reps in, or something, in order to move the body through its fullest range of motion and to keep everything healthy. Then it doesn't really matter what movement you're doing after that in your workout. You just took your whole body through its entire range of motion. After I'm done with that, I want to activate everything. Let's get the joints ready to accept load. So I'll do some glute bridges. I'll do some forward plank stuff or some side bends or whatever. I'll do some Russian twists. I love those because I feel like we don't twist enough, and that's really good for back health and everything. Also good to get the lymphatics or the kidneys and liver moving and accepting the waste that's going to be coming in there. And then we'll get the shoulders warmed up, so we'll do some crossover symmetry or something like that. And then we'll go do our workout stuff. We'll work out. And then here's the most important part, not most, but really, really, really important and overlooked, is a cool down. Oh my God. Go back on the machine. Get back on there until you could close your mouth. Remember, we said when you got on there to warm up, Stay on there till you want to open your mouth. Now you're going to be like, oh, I just finished this workout. Oh, yeah, let's get on the bike. I can't close my mouth. And then over time, you're going to be like, And wait until you can breathe in and out 7 times through your nose without opening your mouth and being like, 7 times. That was hard. But instead, do it like, okay, there were 7 breaths, nice and relaxed, in and out of my nose. Then, controversial take on this one. You ready? Wait for the fucking comments. Excuse my language, but I hate this shit. On this one, get on a foam roller. I don't want to hear it. And I know it's like, it shows there's like 1% difference, blah, blah, blah. But there's also like this lady in Ireland right now that's like cutting a potato in half and like putting it on her child's like first pimple in order to get it to go away. And the next day that child is going to wake up and that pimple is going to be gone because guess what? Placebos work. And so if foam rolling is a placebo effect for some people and they get on it and wow, really makes their muscles feel relaxed, their whole central nervous system relaxes, they feel better afterwards. And that's usually what I see with foam rolling. It's like people are like, oh, I'm so tired, I'm so tense. And then they get on it and they roll around a little bit and they're like moving around their whole body all over this thing. And they get up and they're like, how do you feel now? And they're like, better. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, let's keep doing it. So I'll get you on a foam roller and just kind of work through all the muscles, like just hit everything nice and easy, get it to relax a little bit. After you're done with that, I'll have you get into the squat. And this depends on how much time you got, but if you can do 2 minutes, hell yeah, sit in the squat for 2 minutes, go hang for a minute. And then if you have this amazing apparatus at your gym, a piece of equipment called the reverse hyper, holy cow, 3 sets of 15 on that bad boy, coupled with 3 sets of 15 to 25 GHD sit-ups. I love that as just like a little cherry on top right at the end to just get the body to be like, hey, here's some decompression, little back. Hey, here's some activation, little back. Hey, low abs, let's get working again so that when this person walks away, they're standing up tall and erect and they feel good, like they got some spine or some decompression in their spine, their shoulders feel good from hanging, their hips and knees feel good from sitting in that squat, and they are ready to go on about their day and hopefully keep moving. Don't stop moving after that point. Remember, not full rest, but active rest is what we're after. Thanks for hanging out with me. 7 questions. I have no idea how long that was. But if you guys have any questions for me, just hit me up at westby2013. You know that, you're freaking here. But I do this cool thing. It's called the Academy, and it's on this platform called School. And if you go to my bio and you click on the link there that says the Academy School, you'll get 7 days free to check it out. I encourage, honestly, like affiliate owners to check it out and to purchase it as like a gift. It's only $39.99 a month, and it has a community. It's got a course, self-paced, 5-phase course that you and your coaches could go through to test their knowledge, see where they're at, and have an objective understanding of what they need to work on. Is it teaching? Is it seeing? Is it correcting? Is it presence and attitude moving forward? And then we can help you create an action plan for that, you guys. And it's just amazing. I'm putting stuff in there almost every single week, like 3 times at least, whether it be free resources or videos or how-tos or just things to spur comments between the members that are in there. Check it out. It is something I'm pouring my heart and soul into, and I know you guys are going to love it if you just check it out. If you need anything, I'm here for you. Otherwise, thanks for joining me. I'll see you guys next time.